Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Leah, and I am a nonprofit solution consultant here at Giveffect. And we are about to dive into a Habitat for Humanity focused demo, just to give you a little insight as to everything we offer. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here, and thank you so much for joining. All right. So today, as I mentioned, this is our Give Effect demo for habitats. And we're focusing really on what matters most to you, right? Aligning with your mission, your clients, your donors, and your volunteers, right? It's about having a system that is there to support you and not create data entry and manual work. Our focus is to be able to help you, and we look forward to having that partnership with you. Before we dive into the actual demo, we're going to talk through some of the pain points that we hear over over and over from nonprofits and from habitats. So whether it's the manual data entry and errors that cause, right? Anytime you have paper or anytime you're having to push and pull data, it's so easy to have data flipped, duplicated data and efforts, right? Multiple systems, having to push and pull data from MailChimp or Constant Contact back into your CRM just puts strain on your team. You also have missing or unorganized data. It's stored somewhere. I've got to go try to find it. All that time that you have spending trying to find it, constantly downloading reports from one tool in order to upload to the other, right? This really is a big strain for your team, because if you can't see your volunteer to donor conversion rate, or you can't see your monthly donors that have opted in or that have opened up emails, it allows for just more work on your team to be able to see that whole 360 view. And then, of course, gaps in data due to role transitions. We're in the nonprofit world, we're in the business world, right? People leave and you have gaps. And when people leave, there is that gap of data, all right? The transition doesn't happen as smoothly as it needs to, or whatever it may be, there's going to be gaps in data. And that's why Giveffect is there to really help provide that unified technology system, right? So we've seen over and over again, and these are data points that are impactful, right? So 2 times more likely to exceed your fundraising goals when you have a unified system. 4 times more likely to actually exceed your mission goals, right? That's the whole reason you're there. That's the whole reason we're here, is to support you in providing all the services that you provide to your community. And then 30 to 40 hours a month saved in administrative tasks with a unified system, right? These are a couple other data points. I'm a data nerd, so I really like looking at benefits to your mission, right? 38% increase in fundraising revenue. I mean, I don't know who's going to turn that down. 20% increase in donor base. You've got increase in donor retention. You've got increase in your volunteer base for habitats. I know you rely heavily on the support of your community and the support of your volunteers. You want to make it as seamless as possible and eliminate as many steps as you can in the process. Increased in volunteer engagement, because it is easy to have it all in one spot. And then, of course, just kind of going back to Giveffect, right? We're a 10-in-1 CRM platform, right? With all the software integrations and resources needed to connect your development, your community engagement, marketing, and all other teams, right? We do the busy work for you so you can focus on what matters most. Again, you'll hear me mention that throughout the demo. This is kind of going to be the areas that we'll look at and touch on, specific to habitats, and we'll dive into this right on now. So we're going to go ahead and hop right into our demo. And we're going to start with the front facing of your website, what your donors see when they come to your website, what your supporters see. And we'll start with front facing, and then we'll move into the back end, And I even have some family services that I want to cover with you for your family services, homeowner side, revitalization projects and um, everything there. So we're going to start with the donation aspect. On your website, Giveffect has two different ways of handling donations. This is an embedded donation form, so you can see Habitat at East Central Ohio. They've got it right on their page, embedded in behind a picture. They've added, the verbiage and information here, and then the embedded donation form. They've got a suggested donation amount already selected. You can have that set up. You can have any amount listed. Cover the fees can automatically be selected or unselected. And then they have designations. Because this is an embedded form, if I hit next, it's just going to expand out, keep with the look and feel of my page, and allow me to continue the donation checkout process. The other option is, let's say if I were to click the donate button, I would pop open into a standalone donation page. You can see here it's got donate.yorkhabitat.org, so it's still branded with your information. It does live all on your subdomain, which is everything that Giveffect houses together, but it's all branded with your .org address. You can see here this group has one time, monthly, and they have pledges turned on. So again, that easeability of having any type of donation process. I've got any amount listed here. It looks like they've put in some sponsorship information. If I select the amount here, you can see they already have the cover the fees selected, so it's showing them how much of the fees they're covering. You can also look at monthly and break it down. And the pledges is a really neat piece if you are trying to do a pledge request. You can break down your installments on the back end, and then it shows the donor and supporter how much actually, of the $1,000, how much is a monthly. In the system, you can have reminders set up to say 5 days before it's due. Go ahead and give that donor an email, and now they have the capability to just click the payment and submit their donation, right? Ease of taking that burden off your team. I'm going to go back to one-time donor information. I'm going to scroll down to the section automatic tax receipts. They can say, I'm giving from an organization, and put in their organization information. They have the opt-in areas for opting into email newsletters or SMS texting if you have that feature turned on within Giveffect. Address information, and then you have the designations and information here. You also have the capability to get into in honor of and in memory of, and keep going through and saying, I want an email acknowledgement. I want to select an e-card. Giveffect comes with some templates, but you're also able to put in, you're also able to put in customized e-cards as well. So it's really, really impactful to have customized e-cards there. Excuse me as I took a sip of water there. It always seems like that as soon as I start recording, I get a little tickle in my throat. But here we are with credit card processing. We have Stripe as the back end. So that allows you to have Stripe. It allows for you to have Bank ACH. It allows for you to have Google Pay and Apple Pay. And then you can link your PayPal account and have PayPal and Venmo also. So being able to have the flexibility to have all different types of donations, those boxes will just show up. And you'll see it as we go through some of the examples of the donation piece. We also have found out, and we like to do analytics for our nonprofits, that if you add a description, you get a 16 to 18% increase on your donations when you have your description listed and you also have the cover the fee selected. So we're always in a partnership with you, and we're always trying to be able to give you tidbits or fun facts that will help you optimize your efficiency. Next, we're going to kind of move into the, I wanted to show you here on this is another embedded or a standalone donation page. And you can see here that they actually have additional questions tied to their donation checkout. how did you hear about us? So they actually have pre-selected fields here. And then you can see that they also have their PayPal and Venmo turned on. So they've got the 4 options for donating. Next, we're going to kind of move into the events and fundraising side of the website that you might have or pages that you might have created. So this is a carpenters club, right? Builders club. It's your monthly donor campaign that you've got running. And this is, the Quad Cities, and they have a carpenters club, and you can click on it and you can join the club, and it's already automatically going to their monthly donor section. They've got it broken down into, what $25 provides: a box of nails, and just having the fun capability of this. They're going into your system already as a monthly donor. They're in a section, which you'll see in a little bit. Next, we've got, maybe it's a capital campaign, Habitat Homestead. So you can set your metrics, you can have your goals turned on. You have the capability to set your look and feel and your coloring to whatever, if it matching your PMS and your logos and information. The next one in here is not just having donation pages, but RSVP campaigns. So this is Greater Palm Beach County, and they have a Community Connect event where they're asking people to go ahead and RSVP to attend. So it doesn't just have to be donate, right? It can be the capability of checking on an RSVP and saying, yes, I want to come, save my spot. I thought this is a great campaign. This is Habitat St. Charles, and they have a sponsor campaign, right? So they're asking for people to sponsor a beam. They've got a clear description of the campaign, their 100th home that they're building. It's $250. They've got a neat way to kind of show it. They've got sponsor information, and then down here it's where you can actually add the product and see that, you have the capability to kind of have your supporters sign it. So it's a neat way for to engage with your sponsors and your supporters, and they've raised almost $10,000. So next one, we couldn't move away from women's builds or any veterans builds, but I thought this was a neat tool. It's using our ticketed version, and they're drumming up excitement for a women's build, and they have the power tool training course. So here I have the capability to pay $25 to come and have, materials and crafts and support the women's build program. So it's a fundraiser, but it's also being able to tie in with the community. That which leads me to the peer-to-peer side of our system, right? For habitats, I know how important being able to connect with your community, with faith builds, with pride builds, with veterans builds, you name it. You've got the capabilities. Habitat for Humanity Greater Palm Beach, they do an amazing job every year of doing their women's build. You can see here they've got all the options to donate, to sponsor, to register and create a team, to sign up as an individual or join a team, and then men support women build calendar. So they also have custom links that can drive to a PDF or additional information. They've got their thermometer tracker turned on, and they've got 32 teams. Their event is coming up. They've also embedded a video from previous years, so you can see what all the excitement is for the women build. They've set their metrics, so you must, to be able to participate, you must raise this amount. And then they've got their sponsor information. And if I scroll through to the sponsor information, you can see down here, they also have men's support women build calendar, right? So you can go ahead and purchase that for $25. They're using that as the product section. If I come over here, I can also look at the teams. So the Foxy Builders, right? Raina created a page. She shared it with her friends. She's got 12 people that have joined her team, and they've raised $14,000, almost $15,000 for your habitat. They're trailing behind Ashley's team here. Property Sisters are in third place, and so it's a fun gamification side of competitiveness for your builds. I've seen people do prizes right for the top teams, raising funds. So just a neat way to engage with your team, and then you can even break it down into individuals. So now each individual that's created a page, you can see that Ashley is leading the force there, and she's raised almost, over $7,500 just personally from her own page. If I click on it, it's going to pull open right into Ashley's page, and then she's able to go up here and share that with her family, her friends, and now they can easily find her page. 3 people have supported her. And if I scroll down, I can see that Ashley can even go on here and look at, oh, Patrick gave, or, Gracie gave, Liz gave, right? So you have all that capability to see the supporters. But if I click on this, I can't see any of their personal information. The next one after the peer-to-peer would be, I need everything, right? I need the gala functionality. I need to have the tickets. I need to have sponsors. And I also need to just add that extra layer of an auction. So here you are with the only non-habitat. Well, there might be a couple other non-habitat ones here, but this is a ticketed event. I've got multiple different types of ticket packs that I need to have. I can have a VIP area. I can also have an 8 top guest table for sale for the gala. I've got sponsor the event. I'm going to go ahead and click on sponsors. And you can see here that the bronze sponsor gets 2 general admission tickets. It also tells you everything that it comes with the sponsorship. One of my favorite features is the sponsor uploading their logo. I was in the meeting and event industry and in trade shows, and I used to have to chase sponsors around for their logos. So gone are those days of me chasing around a sponsor for their logo. I've got it right here, and I have the capability to have them upload it, and I can always go back in, and if they don't have a name, they can put it here. If it's a foundation or an individual giving, they're also going to get recognition. And then it's just the standard checkout flow from a donor. The piece I like to highlight here is because they get 2 tickets, they can also now spell out who the ticket holders are. And those individuals are going to get like a Ticketmaster email emailed to them, or they can print it out and actually walk into the event, scan themselves in, and check in that way, or you could run it like a regular registration. You also have the capability if it's a plated dinner, right, and you need to ask chicken, pork, vegetarian, vegan, whatever it may be, you have the capability to ask that on the ticket side as well. We even have a nice feature of assigned seating. So if you wanted to do table assignments and, table 2, seat 5, you can have that set up on the back end. And then you can push out the ticket information again so they have it as their record. Next, I'm going to move into the auction. So I can click through the auction button, and this is going to drive right down to the auction items. Giveffect has 3 different types of auctions. We have the online only, right? So you're just running it online. The feature I like about the online version is you can also have it set to expire on any of them, really. And it will just automatically charge the cards on file. The other option is having this in person and having it like baskets set up with QR codes so people can walk around, scan the QR code. They are going to get email notified, or if you have SMS text turned on, that they've been notified that they've been outbid. So again, fun gamification, especially if somebody's competitive. And then the other option is the actual auctioneer. So this would be run with an auctioneer. People have paddles. Giveffect automatically can assign everybody a paddle number, and then you can print those paddle numbers. And then on the back end, you would have your laptop open, and people could go ahead and, you could have someone managing it and putting in their ticket. the ticket winner, right? The bidder number. Again, more information, we can handle that on a one-on-one call to kind of dig into your specific needs. I really like the Demand Project. They do a great job in their galas. I wanted to show you how they elevated their program down here through their product section. So it doesn't just have to be products, but they've got heads or tails drawings. They've got golden tickets. So you really do have heads or tails additional. You've really got the capability to kind of customize and use products in multiple ways. It could be shirts, it could be promo, it can be raffle tickets and such as well. Next, we're going to move into the volunteer side, front facing. So Giveffect, because it's an all-in-one system, right? Now I have the capabilities to look at the volunteer calendar. So here is Greater Green Bay. I can scroll down and look at February and say, yep, oh, I need to come in on the 26th and I want to help with metal recycling, right? Or cashiers. I also have the capability to look at it from a bulleted view. It tells me a little bit more information on age restrictions, how many spots are left. But I could also just come up here and say, yep, I really just want to look at, merchandise prep. And it's going to filter through my volunteer opportunities that I really care about. Same thing with other filters as to locations or days. It's going to break that down for you as well. When someone registers, you have the capability to also have standalone applications on your website, or you could have this tied into the actual registration. Before they proceed, they have to fill out the application. We've got lots of robust capabilities for volunteering as far as it being a closed system and requiring registration. Of course, that's handled one-on-one with your needs and understanding those specifics and having that flexibility to kind of set it up how you want it. But here we've got contact information, age restrictions. I've got date of birth required. If I'm going to ask background questions, there's more boxes. You ask or don't ask, and the box will disappear. Skills, same thing, and your availability. If I don't really, to me, I want to make it as simple as possible. So if I'm not really worried about availability, who's available for afternoons, I'm not going to ask this question. And then the same thing with additional questions. Ask or don't ask on some of these. I know, a lot of your volunteer opportunities sometimes have food involved, right? Where you're providing lunches. So dietary restrictions is really nice to have. You also have the custom fields section. So they ask, is this your first time volunteering with the team? Emergency contact information. And then this team has the continue button, and then it will automatically go to your waiver if you have that set up. This example I've got pulled up here is, I just wanted to show you, this is Garland County's. They've got a really clean volunteer page, as I know a lot of habitats really focus on. But it's really neat because they've got clear distinctions on opportunities. They've got, different types of groups to be involved, find out more about different builds that they have. But if I come up here and look at sign up to volunteer, right, it's just popping open right into the restore. I have a clear campaign to register and volunteer for one of the 3 area restores. The next is a campaign. So if you wanted to have a little bit more space to call out what the volunteering is, this Habitat East Central Ohio does a really good job with using the custom buttons to drive back to their website. That it's those frequently asked questions that you get that inundate your email box, right? That you've got the capabilities, what to expect when volunteering. If I click on this, right, and open up another tab, because I like to open up tabs, it's going to pop right open to the details of everything that's expected. What should I wear? What does Habitat provide? Again, it's just a really simple way to have more information on this page. And then people can go ahead and sign up to volunteer. The next I've got here is just like the women's build. Now I've got Neighbors Day or revitalization where I need teams. I want to do peer to peer, but on a volunteering scale. So I've got the capability to have 38 teams for volunteering. Again, if I scroll down and look at it, you can see here that I've got a whole football team covering 125 people have registered that said, I'm going to come and help revitalize this neighborhood. And the thing with teams is they don't have to come on the same day. It's just Matt created a team and people can choose the days that they're going to come and volunteer. We also have group reservations where we could have Matt create a group of 10 and now he really owns that and they all come on the same time and the same day. So different ways again of managing your volunteer base. I can also look at participants and what it does for the actual volunteer side is it actually breaks down their volunteer hours. Probably not the best one to do on a webinar and or recording because there's a lot of people on here, but you can see here it's just tracking their volunteer hours. Um, this is Northwest Metro Atlanta. And what they really do is they take the time to actually break down their volunteer opportunities. And they have password protection. So again, if your nonprofit operates one way, by having a conversation with us, we can help you kind of say, okay, well, we hear what you're saying, and this is how you would actually utilize it, or here's how we would suggest using it, right? So they've done their builds and they've got different groups that have their own password protections and capabilities to register for their volunteer opportunities. Once someone registers for an actual volunteer opportunity or an RSVP or a ticket, which your galas, right, or a golf tournament, you have Event Buddy for check-in. What that is now you can see I've got volunteers for the day, 12 people. I can have that either like on a kiosk or on a cell phone, and they just come in and like scan QR code, find their name or take their ticket, scan themselves in and check in. Or you can even run it like a registration, or they could come to a tablet and type in their name or scroll down and find, Sarah here, check her in, and now she's checked in. You also have the capability to do all in or all out, right? If you're not having people check out, and it tracks it to the hour. The next piece is your supporter login. So this is really putting the details of what they've supported to your organization in the supporter's hand. So this is Chris, and this is his supporter login. So he can see all of his participation with your nonprofit. He can look at all of his volunteer hours. I don't know about you, but I'm a co-founder of a nonprofit, and we have a lot of community service hours. So this really allows for your community service members to be able to track their hours, and they can literally come down here and go ahead and download PDF. So if they need it for any reporting purposes or for work, they've got all of that information tracked. You can also see we've got sweat equity tracking for your homeowner side. So the capabilities for them to see how they're doing on their sweat equity credits as well. Donation tracking, all of your donation tax receipts are here. So I do have the capability to pull these if I've requested a tax receipt and have it for my files. You also have reoccurring donations. This is something that was very important for different groups, right? The capability for that supporter, they're going to get a reminder if their card is about to cancel, right? Or it needs the new card information. Here they can come right in and update their credit card, and they can change their frequency or the amount just right at their fingertips. They also have the capability to start third-party fundraisers if you want them to, right? So think of that as replacing your Facebook fundraisers or any type of fundraisers where you may not get analytics. Now they have the capability to request those. Okay, so we've made it through the front side of your supporters and what they see when they come to your website. Now we're going to hop into the back end of the system. And we're going to start in mission control. This is basically the main hub of your database and where you actually have the capability to manage and see where you are trending this week, last week, today, this month. I also have the capability to look at my year over year donations, monetary, in kind, or both, or if I need to look over month. I also have a dashboard widget that tracks all of my upcoming donorversaries, never contacted, and this is really broken down by department. So I can have, my login looks totally different than your teammates, right? If they're volunteer driven, they're going to look at volunteer dashboard widgets. I have never contacted, right? Why did Ace give $250 and we never interacted with him besides like the thank yous? This is a big red flag to be able to say there's a breakdown in my system. I need to figure it out and I need to create that engagement and touch points with my supporters. Number one reason why a donor stops giving, they're not thanked. So you want to be able to be present and have them understand that they really do have an impact. You've also got giving levels. I use this for my board meetings when I need to prepare, slide it down to break down and get really analytical. Again, I'm a data nerd, so I like all of the details. And there's, I think, 13 different metrics here. I even have the capabilities to hone in on payment locations and really see where my donors are giving from, age and gender, capabilities. And then you even have traffic sources, where they're coming from. And it even has the capabilities to have your Google Analytics tied into it. And there is some social meta data information. That's all covered on your onboarding session 1 and 2 when you're actually setting up the system and how it works. Then from there, we're going to go right below mission control. Left-hand side is your dashboard, your main kind of metrics and where you're going to go around in the system. The CRM is kind of the main hub of the database, as you can see from contacts. What I wanted to cover here, and you'll see on a lot of these other tabs, I have this scoreboard dashboard that I don't even have to run any reports on. I can see, here I've got 2,000 contacts in my system. That's my constant contact list, right? What I used to have in constant contact. Now I have that visibility. And of that, I've got 825 are donors. I'm trending at a 37% donor conversion rate. If I want to set that metric and say I want to hit 40 by the end of 2026, I've got it right here. Every time I come to my CRM and I look at contacts, I've got my data. So I don't have to run reports. I mean, of course, you're going to always have to dig in a little bit deeper, but you have that capability to do dashboards in your scoreboard right here. I also have on my contacts tab to look at individuals. We've got a duplicate flagger. I'm going to hop into an actual profile right now and show you what Wendell's page looks like. So that 360 view with Wendell, we're going to look at his personal information that he's registered with. I've got address information. Giveffect does national change of address twice a year included. So when it comes time for mailers, you've got that capability to really have peace of mind that you know you're going to the right address. You can also see here that we have a duplicate flagger, like I mentioned, and it's on the profile section. I can click on this, smart merge them together. I want to take quick action with Wendell and send him a letter. I can pre-create templates and I can grab his big fish mailer and it's going to pull in data from Wendell's profile right into that email if you've got it set up that way. Tagging groups. I'm a big tagger, or we call them contact groups. We have 3 different types of groups: contact groups, volunteer groups, and donation groups. So you really are able to segment your donors and your supporters. Pink is meaning that they've opted in. So they opted in for donation news, for future volunteer news. The gray is where you've actually done your own custom tagging, or based off of their ticket purchase, you can also data map on the back end. So as soon as someone registers for Walk 2025, I've got them tagged here. Or if I wanted to take my 2024 major donor list and tag them, I also have that capability to add them to a group. Each profile can be set up by like as a individual. So if I'm looking at it and I'm only volunteer focused, I can hide a lot of these fields and just look at the volunteer specific information. Current relationships, former relationships, there's tracked. This is the volunteer section. So Giveffect has a lot of fields that we use, but it just wants to show you, and we just have it here to show you that there's really endless capabilities with your custom fields. You don't have to pay someone to create this, right? It is out of the box. It is the capability to be able to have multiple fields just really quickly and create those. And then the custom field section, I really like, as we're going to get into the email section in a little while, to be able to pull in more merge field within your system. Before that, we can hop into all of Wendell's giving, right? What is he doing within your organization? I can break it down into tributes or his reoccurring payments and look at his monthly donations. If he's given any pledges, I have that capability. This is that pie chart that allows me to kind of see where Wendell's heart really is for giving, but I can scroll down here and look at it even more in detail and have it tracked here as well in honor of, right, dedications. If I come back up here, I also have all of Wendell's volunteering, right? Previously, we were looking at Wendell's own personal, supporter login. This is your view. So you have the capability to even say, yep, Wendell came to do dog walking and he was tired and dragging, right? That's out of the norm for Wendell, but you could look at this and see, repetitive, uh, you know, tired, maybe 3:30 in the afternoon is too early for him. You have the capability to really look at and have historical data. I also have interaction tracking, which I think is really important. This is the capabilities to get really granular into what you're doing with Wendell. Giveffect has a BCC at giveffect.com in your BCC field. So when you're using your native email and you want to send Wendell an email, you don't have to come in here and log an interaction and send an email. You can BCC in your BCC field, and that will track that email to Wendell's profile. I call it kind of like a magic wand because it is kind of neat. I don't know how it maps, but it is there. You also have the capability up at the very top to look at timeline, who's doing what with Wendell. Looks like we sent him an email, he opened it, right? Or I've sent him a letter, and you have the capability to look at all of that sent letter and information. Going to go back down here because I know you also have households. So this is the capability to track Wendell. Again, Wendell's probably a bad example here because he's in 4 households, but you can have multiple households. I can create it right here. We also have a households tab so you can kind of create information and have it connected. You've got development, which is going to basically look at all of the 360 view of different sections, major grants, major gifts, grants, plan giving, applications that are active on Wendell as well. Wealth screening is a third-party integration with donor search. If that's something you're interested in or you have a wealth screening tool, it's integrated into Giveffect. It is a third-party integration, but I always like to call it out here because it's built in. So it is seamless if that's something that you want to have that third party integration with. Separate cost, then you just link it in, kind of just like your PayPal. You have the capability to have your PayPal integrated in. The next one I wanted to show you is an actual company or an organization. I think this is really important for habitats because you guys are working with, multiple different organizations. And so you want to be able to have an organization tracking separate from a contact, right? So this is the Walt Disney Company here. This is the groups that they're a part of. But if I scroll down here, you can see that I've got all my different contacts. Mickey, Donald, Minnie. Mickey is the main POC, right? Point of contact. If I come down here, I also have the capability to look and add employees. So this could be, any amount of team that you need to track employees on. You can see I've got four employees, and now it's tracking their donor capabilities as too. So they may give us an individual, but I want to tag them because they work at this organization. I'm going to add them here, and I'm going to have that visibility from a company-wide perspective. When I go back and let when I let Home Depot store uh 456 know, I have the capability to see how many employees are giving from their organization. So just a really neat piece of being able to track from an organizational level. Next, I'm going to move from contacts into donations. Again, this is supposed to be really meant to be high level, kind of introductory demo for you just to see a little bit about Giveffect, but more specifically to habitats. So donations, I have the capability to do advanced search on any of my kind of sections here where I can really pull in data that's not just tied to donations, but if I wanted to keep it that way, I could. Donation amount is greater than 5,000, but I also want to ask who's a volunteer. So I'm getting really granular and in the weeds on reporting. I could even say maybe custom field is veteran, right? If I was trying to pull a veteran report on anybody that's given over a certain amount, I have the capability to hit search. I can see I've got 62 donors here that have given, 318 different donations. That means there's some repeat donors right there. I can save this query. Let's say it was my executive director or one of my board members. I can run this and automate it so I don't have to come in here and remember once a month to pull that report. It can be automatically sent to myself so I can edit it. If I scroll down here, this is where I can download those results, or I could mass update and tag this group into a grouping as well. I also have adding a donation, individual or organization. And you'll see here, these are kind of all of the fields that you can track. I can have offline, in kind. I can have charge credit card. So if I have somebody that's calling in and saying they're having trouble making a donation, I can take it right over the phone, right? Want to make it as simple as possible. Um, Offline tracking also has the capability we integrate with QuickBooks Online. So that has the capability to track your fund, account source, your GL codes. You even have appeal codes, right? There's a lot of fields here to be able to use how you like. Campaigns will tie it back to the actual gala event and update that thermometer. So it's tracking it as the donations are coming in. Soft credits are a big piece of being able to track. You have that capability to look at that as well. Next area we've got is reporting. Kind of goes in line with that advanced search, but this is on the left-hand side. We're on the report section. Giveffect has 32 different canned reports. So think of this as maybe a little bit more detailed specifics. My LIBUNT last year, but unfortunately not this year or some year. I can hit my advanced search, say who gave in 2024 but hasn't given in 2025. Hit, follow my little prompts here, hit calendar year or my fiscal year, generate the report. And now it's got here, I've got Dan that, has given 7 times. But this year he only gave, you know, $21,000 in 2024. I probably should be reaching out to him for 2025. I can take quick action with this group, email them and say, hey, thank you so much for your 2024 support of X. And you can pull in that specific $7,000 or $20,000 that they've given to you before, and really have that conversation on a granular level. You also have additional reporting here. Again, I mentioned 32 reports, lots of capabilities and breakdowns, in-kind donations. You've got, growth scales that you want to look at. I also have grants and major gifts tracking. They're similar in this essence that they have pipeline management up here. So if I wanted to look at my grants that are in progress, I have the capability to look at every grant or maybe due soon timelines. If I add a grant, you can see here, this is where I can change my confidence level. I have due dates, deadlines, and decision dates. And I have even custom dates where I can put, you know, um, deadline number 2 or Q1 reporting, whatever it may be for your custom tagging, as well as I can assign, grants to specific team members. If you've got multiple people writing grants, having that visibility is a great feature here, because I can come down here and I can look at the grants that I'm just specifically working on. I also like the feature here that says, um, basically syncing it to my calendar. So I can choose my grants, go ahead and add to my calendar, and it's going to go ahead and put those as deadlines on my calendar. Why? Trying to save you the steps of having to go into your email, create a calendar invite or a block your calendar. It's really meant to help streamline efficiency. From there, once I have all of my donors and information in, it becomes the piece where I need to communicate with them and I need to do it easily and effectively. So, email campaigns. Here we've got a habitat example. I can say, you know what, I need to send it to that 2024 major donors group and grab them and pull them in here. Or I could say, you know what, I need to grab my volunteers. And if I have my 2018 event volunteers, I can grab them. If, oh, and I also need to add Sam to that list. If Sam is on any of these lists, he's not going to get 2 emails, or she, right? I also have the capability for organizations to uh, copy in organizational point of contacts or alternate emails. Alternate emails would be like your work email, who it's coming from, who they reply to. I can have it in a nice, um, you'll see a couple examples here. I can have it in a nice newsletter template where I've got multiple different sections. Again, this is out of the box. It's not meant to be a designer, editor, or an AI Adobe Illustrator template. It's a plug and play. Um, but what's different between other systems, right? Those outside systems is I do have the capability to really personalize. So if you come back up here, it's going to that person's name. It's saying your donation and support this year of, year to date. It's going to be called out specifically to their giving. And then if I come down here, I also have that capability I mentioned, feels like hours ago, custom fields. So I could really say, dear James, thank you for your X donation and your volunteer hours completed this year. By the way, how's your dog doing? Right? You could really customize that with those merge custom fields. I can send a test to myself, and I can go ahead and schedule that send for your team. Once I hit send, I also have all of the analytics behind it. How many people opened the email? I can click on this and it's going to break down how many people opened and what links and how many links they clicked on. I like the piece here. My board likes to look at clicks. So they really like to look at what people are clicking on. and having that capability. So that's something that I track because I have, a volunteer button. I might have um, an event campaign or a donation button, but I can really get into the specifics and see where the supporter is clicking on from the email perspective. Next, we've got the family services side. So um, this is basically where your homeowners, you have the capability to manage information. You've got, this is a great restore tie-in, which I think is great. Um, if you have your restore, sometimes they can get disconnected, right? They work in their own little silos. I've heard it. But this was a great, neat opportunity for fundraising. It's a ticket at a ticketed event. It's $20 general special admission, where you can actually go in and deck the halls for Habitat at your restore, and it's a VIP fundraiser. Neat way to engage with your supporters and your restore connection. If you have first time home buyer workshops, right? This Habitat, you can see here, they've got a lot of people interested in applications. It breaks down what the application process looks like. And because of Google Translate, I also have the capability to come up here and actually change out the language and translate this into Spanish, and then it's going to change all of the verbiage. Now it's Google Translate, right? So it might not translate perfectly, but this is the capability to really be able to translate your not your graphics, but your pages, so that your supporters can really be able to have ease of communication. Next, I have pulled up here neighborhood revitalization. East Central Ohio has zero interest payments online, so they actually are able to process their online payments for mortgages, and they've set up a campaign to track that and have that managed here. And because you also have the reoccurring monthly, you could also set up reoccurring payments as well. Habitat Kansas does home ownership program credit report fees. So they tie this to their application, that you actually have to complete a $35 credit report background check, or, credit reporting. The last piece I want to cover on the homeowner side is the application processing within Giveffect. So you have the capability to create any type of application. This doesn't just have to be family services. Think of this as youth engagement. I know some of your teams do ambassador programs or grant applications, but here for this instances, I'm going to use the homeowner application. I can go into the pencil, and this would just be like I was creating it for the first time. I have the capability to put in ask or don't ask questions. I've got my title here. If I've got a waiver that's required, the date that my application period is open. And then I really have all of these different tabs to kind of break down. I want my application, and I need, basic information, and I need to add another section and have this entered here. I also have the capability to say, yep, I do need to add third parties, right? I need to ask more people for parent guardian information, or and then I have the capability to do instructions, automatic thank you once they've registered and completed their application. Now I have, here's the next steps, and here's how things are going to work and how progress. And then they also have a notification email. Once that's created, right? Now I have the capability to even come in here and track how many applicants. And just like your grants and your major gifts, I have the pipeline. So I can see who's under review and who's been approved, who's been granted to move to the next step. We have Habitats using this as a pre-qualifier and also their full application. So you can really build this out for your use. My nonprofit, we use this actually for board applications. So when we are trying to look for new board members. So just a lot of capabilities for tracking and working with habitats. The next piece I've got pulled up here is kind of just the campaigns section. On the left-hand side, I've got campaigns. You have the three different types of volunteer or campaigns that you can create. Fundraising, RSVPs, volunteers. Campaigns take anywhere between 8 to 15 minutes. If this is something you want to actually have a deeper discussion on, I definitely recommend scheduling a strategy call with us. We spend 30 minutes where we really break down details and then we make a custom demo for you. The last piece that I think sets apart Giveffect from others is the video tutorials and the support that you get. Literally this morning we had a speed learning session. We try to do those monthly. They're 30-minute sessions that break down and interview other people within nonprofits or other thought leaders or experts in their fields, and they'll come in and do a 30-minute interview and open Q&A where they get to actually answer some questions that you might be having. Video tutorials. Giveffect pairs you with a dedicated client success manager, someone that walks through your whole journey of your nonprofit with Giveffect. We're not just giving you the keys and saying good luck. We intentionally have a relationship with you to help you optimize your efficiency. Your dedicated client success manager does 5 hours of onboarding. You can see the series here, though, where it breaks it down, short videos to help you know what you're going to be covering in those sessions. There's a little pre-homework that you actually break down. Then they also meet with you a 30-day, a 60-day, 90-day, and biannual check-ins. You also have data migration. So you're paired with a dedicated data migration specialist because we understand, pulling your data from other systems might feel overwhelming. We're very thorough in what we do and how we explain things. So you have a 7-step process with us for data migration. Of that 7 steps, 2 of them are your lifts, right? One giving you sample data. The second one is uploading all your data. And then from there, our team takes that information, your data migration specialist, and says, Sarah was here and here and here, and it matches it and forms it into one place. I always like to make it sound like it's so easy. I know it's a step and it's a process, but we're there walking alongside with you. So if this is something that you're interested in actually digging into, we would really love to have a conversation with you. We work with over 50 plus Habitat affiliates. We understand, the specific needs that you have, and we're willing to work with you on everything that you might need to discuss. We'll break it down and we'll help you find the best solution for what you need. So if you're interested, please feel free to reach out to Giveffect and we'll set up a strategy call with you. Thank you so much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. Bye-bye.